My name is Mickey. Today, we will be doing the dues and billing webinar. I will be the host today, and my co-host today is Serena.
Hi, everyone. My name is Serena. I'll be covering the Q&A and also the chat. If you have any questions, please feel free to enter them at any time, and I'll be happy to help.
Great, fantastic. Thank you. And so there's one bit of housekeeping which relates to this that I wanted to cover. In Zoom, in the bottom of your Zoom interface, there are a series of buttons. Please click the Q&A button if you have any questions at all, whether it be during the presentation period where we'll be going over dues and billing together, or for afterwards. We'll have a Q&A session after this as well. You can use the Zoom chat, not a problem if you'd like to say hello to your fellow Rotarians. The Q&A box is really vital because we follow up. So even if there's any questions we can't get to today in Q&A, we will follow up in the Q&A box. So please do use that Q&A button at the bottom of Zoom. Open it up, you'll be able to type your questions in. These questions are all logged. So we will have access to them even if we can't answer them live today. All right, so with that, I'm going to move on. Today, the topics we're going to cover for dues and billing, we're going to be creating and sending club invoices for member dues, and we're going to talk about a few other items that you can do with dues and billing. We'll be adding credit and debit adjustments. We'll be tracking online payments. And briefly, we're going to be talking about exporting to QuickBooks. So what I'll do is we'll get underway. Now, I have already logged in to my club website. Today, what we'll be doing is we'll be using one of our test sites. We do not want to reveal anybody's information today. So everything you'll be seeing, all the names, email addresses, they're all fake data because we don't want to reveal anyone's identity. So I'm using this test club site, and I've already logged into the member area. So if you're not sure how to log in, we've been covering that in previous webinars, and we do have help articles. For today's webinar, I won't be going over how to log in. So I've already logged in. I'm going to click here on member area, and it's going to take me to the administration pages. And this is where we're going to start. I'm just going to close one tab here. Okay, so after you log into your club site, you'll come to the admin page, and we're going to go right away to the dues and billing section. The way that you navigate around every Club Runner website, be it club or district, or even the zone, if some of you know zone, all Club Runner websites, after you log into this member area, have a blue bar along the top. Admin, my Club Runner, communication, you'll see all the different sections. So when you click on a section, nothing will load. So I'll click on bulletin or contacts, nothing happens. You have to click on the gray subsection below. I'm going to click on the organization section here, and I'm halfway to dues and billing. Notice dues and billing doesn't load. Along the gray bar, the third option is dues and billing. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to load the subsection that I want, in this case, dues and billing. So before we move ahead, I want to talk very briefly about how and who can access dues and billing. Because if you're following along, there might be a couple reasons why, wait, this isn't working for me on your end. So number one, the dues and billing module, it's only for a club level website. So there is no dues and billing module on a district site. We may decide to make one, but for now, dues and billing is available only for club websites. So if you're logged into a district site, you won't see the dues and billing module. Number two, there is a access level requirement. I'm not going to get too deep into that. When you log into your club website, you may see a lot of grayed out menus. If you can see right here, this menu item happens to be grayed out for me. The only reason this is grayed out for me is because this module is not installed. I am logged in as a website administrator, meaning I have full access to the club website. If you're following along or watching today and you go to your club site and you say, hey, dues and billing, it's grayed out for me. I clicked organization, dues and billing. You don't have the appropriate access level. Please talk to your club, either the execs or the admins. They'll upgrade your access level for you. So those are two reasons why you may not be able to follow along today. Okay, if you are able to follow along, let's keep going. So this is the dues and billing home screen. It actually says billing home. We're actually going to leave it for a second. I don't usually like doing this, but I want to go, at least just for this first portion, I want to go out of order. We're going to explore all the left-hand blue menu items running down this screen. You can see credit adjustment and debits and credits. We're going to explore what all these options do, and we're going to go in order, except for this one time. We're going to come back to billing home. The first thing I want to talk about is this blue button right here. It's kind of in the middle, configuration settings. I'm going to go ahead and click on configuration settings, and it's going to load my account configuration. So if you are new to dues and billing, if your club has never done dues and billing before, come here first. Don't just start a new bill. You can if you want, but click on configuration settings the first time, because this is where the overall settings for dues is set up. So as an example, my billing addresses, okay, where are these bills being billed to? Most of the time, it's your club address. Some clubs have a physical office, like Rotary Club of Idaho or whatever, and then some clubs have a PO box. So this is where you put in the club information. If someone needed to mail you a check, as an example, what would that address be? So that's the billing address right here. This has been pre-filled in, okay? So the next option, when you're creating new items, oops, I'm sorry. Who do I apply the amount to? To everybody or don't apply? Choose to all members. We're going to go over what this means. If you don't know what this means yet, you will in a couple of minutes. But I'm just going to keep it at the default to all members. The display options. What this means is, who do you want to see listed as potential people you can bill? Do you want to see ex-members? Yes, we want to talk about them today. Do you want to see honorary? Yes, we want to talk about honorary. The third option, payment comment required. Yes, we're going to check this option. What this means, payment comment required, is when someone inputs a payment, you're requiring them to put in a payment comment. In other words, they type just a short little message into the box. Most of the time, this will be turned off. But because we want to discuss it today, I'm going to turn this on so you can see what this means. You probably don't want the comment required, but for today, we're just going to require it, okay? Tax rates, I'm going to skip altogether, only for the sake of time. So if you want to put in your federal tax or what have you, please do. I'm going to skip that for today. All right, and I want to talk about one of the more important options. Okay, select payment method. So your club or club website doesn't need a payment method. You, when you're looking at your configuration settings, you may not have any of these options, Sage or Beanstream. We'll talk about this in a second. You might be just defaulted to no payment account specified. That's fine. A payment account or a payment method is a way to accept credit card payments through your club website. In Canada, the payment method that needs to be set up is called Worldline, okay? In US, it's either Worldline or Paya. Internationally, so North America, non-US or Canada, contact us, because that's kind of an if-then if you're in New Zealand or if you're in, South Africa. So I'm not going to go into the international requirements, but just so you know, a payment method just means, can my club accept credit cards. If you have a payment method and you have to set this up beforehand with Club Runner, if you have it, we're going to use Worldline today. If you don't, that's still okay. If there is no payment account specified, all that means is you send out your bills, people pay you with cash or check or at a meeting in person. So there's no online payment if you don't have a payment method. Today, we're going to set it up with Worldline, or Worldline used to be called Bambora. Okay, I'm going to click Save. I want to get that out of the way. The account configuration is an important first step. Now let's go make a bill. So I'm going to click Home underneath Billing right here. It's going to take me back to Billing Home. Okay, and so what's being listed here are some older bills that have been generated before. If you're doing this for the first time, this list will be empty. You will have no older bills. But this club has been, our club has been using dues and billing. So we have some March dues. The status is closed. When I mean status closed, that means the bill is finalized and very likely has been sent to our members. The due date is basically when was the payment for this invoice due. And there's something called comments, and we're going to see what that means. When you create a bill, you either email it or even print it for all your membership. There's comments, meaning you can add a little box with extra information that every recipient will see. For example, your comments can be used to say, make the check payable to, etc. So the comments are an important aspect. So they might come in handy for you, or they might not. I just want you to know that they're there. You'll notice that there's open, delete, copy, but there's really no edit button. These dues are closed. We will lock an invoice when we're done with them, and I'm going to tell you or show you what that means. Okay. These are two bills. Your club, if it has been using dues and billing for a while, you might have more than just, a couple bills. If I click this blue show all bills button, nothing happens because we don't have any old bills. This is our testing club, but I know for a fact some of our clubs, they have 20, 30 invoices over the last 5-7 years. So if you click show all bills, it will show older bills. So you may have more than just these two bills showing. I'm going to hide the old bills. I don't have any old bills for today. Okay, let's create a new bill. I'm going to click this orange button and we're going to start the billing process. So we begin by naming this club invoice or this club bill. I'm going to use the term invoice or bill interchangeably. This is a club bill or a club invoice. Let's actually put the name invoice in this. This is going to be our April 2023 monthly dues invoice. I'm going to call this invoice. Your description should be short and brief, but descriptive. Okay. So you may do quarterly dues or yearly dues. We're going to do monthly. Okay. When is the due date? It defaults to 1 month. So 1 month from now will be May 18th. You can choose a different due date. If the due date passes, no one gets penalized. I want to make that clear. This is not saying after May 18th, no one can pay anymore. It's just giving people a little deadline so that, people aren't thinking, I'll just pay you in 3 months from now. So this is the due date. And if you're doing monthly bills like I am, I actually want to make it 3 weeks. So let's edit the due date. I'm going to click this. And instead of May 18th, I'm going to do it the week before, May 11th, because on May 18th, I have to send out my next monthly bill. Okay, so that's the due date. I do want to put in a comment, and for now, I'm just going to say make check payable to Mickey. All right, and you can add whatever comment you'd like. We're just going to add this a single line. I'm going to try to keep things simple today. I'm going to click the save button, and we have now saved this club invoice. Nothing is done yet, nothing has started, but it's an empty file ready to be populated. Let's talk about the invoicing process. It's 4 steps. So I've created this April invoice. I am the owner. This is a fake name. The status is open. When I say open, it means this is now, and I can continue to edit this invoice. I will, when I'm done, the status will be closed, meaning I won't be able to edit this invoice anymore. But because it's open, I can edit this invoice. Here's my due date that I kind of configured. I'm telling my club, hey, please pay me by May 11th because May 18th, I got to send you all next monthly invoices. Okay, and there's my comment. So here is the 4-step process. You will specify charges and select recipients. We're going to do that in a second. We're going to review. That's actually an important step. We have an entire step just for reviewing who gets charged, what they get charged. Why? Because in step 3 is where you actually generate or finalize your invoices. What do I mean by that? You'll have, and we're going to see how you can charge people and what you can charge them. After step 3, there's no undo. What I mean by that is, let's say you accidentally, you did step 2, you reviewed, and I don't know, one of your members, Anna or Bob or Harry, you accidentally charged them too much or too little. Make sure to spend some time on the review stage. Once you go to step 3, the status of this invoice goes from open to closed because you are locking all your invoices after step 3. After you click this orange generate invoices button, you will not be able to modify the invoice. We'll talk about that and I'll show you what that means. Just step 2 is very important because step 3, you're locking everything. Step 4, you get to choose to print, carry invoices into a meeting, or you get to choose to email your invoices to all your members, or a combination of both. Let's start with step 1 before we move on. So step 1, let's specify charges and select recipients. I'm going to click add additional item, this orange button. And so for those of you who may not be accountants, who may not have a finance background, that includes me. I'm not an accountant. I don't have a finance background. We're going to talk about something called a line item. Dues or the bills or the invoices, the backbone of everything is a line item. What I mean is everything is a line item. Your quarterly dues, that's a line item. And then we'll talk about some other line items. Let's do this first. So quantity is one. We're going to come back to that. What is the invoice detail? The first thing I'm going to charge everybody is the monthly dues for April 2023. That's my first charge. Everybody gets it. No one is exempt in this example. In your example, maybe someone is exempt. We're going to talk about that. But everybody's got to pay their monthly dues. My monthly dues, I think it'll be $10, right? We'll keep it very high. This is obviously monthly. So, and like I said, your club might do quarterly, might do every 6 months, might do a year. For the sake of this example, we're doing monthly. All right. So the monthly dues, everybody's in charge of paying $10. This quantity denotes how many times someone gets charged. If the quantity is 2 instead of 1, they pay $20. It's 10 times 2, or you get the idea, right? So most times, the majority of times, the quantity will be 1, but not always. So let's now figure out who we're going to charge. So we've created this charge, this $10 charge. That's the kind of step 1.5. The step 2 is who gets this charge. Now I just said everybody gets this charge. The way that dues works, the first thing it lists is all your active members. Okay, so these are all my active members, and it's alphabetical. And you can see everybody gets charged. So I'm going to run down the list and just show you everybody gets charged $10. Okay. This is where you can start tweaking. As an example, let's just say, I don't know, I'm the one, I'm admin Rusty. Let's say I already paid this, so I don't want to get the invoice. You can deselect members, right? These 3 members will not get charged the $10. But like I said, everybody needs to pay my monthly invoice. So I'm going to select everybody, but you can unselect. Let's say you don't want to charge anybody and you only want to charge, say, 2 people. You can unselect all the active members. Maybe Misty and Gil have to pay this, and then that's it. And you can click save. And this line item, right? This single line item will only be for these 2 members. Like I said, we're not doing that. Everybody has to pay the $10, all my active members. I'm going to scroll down to my honorary. Do my honoraries pay? No, they don't pay the $10. Your club policy will be different. Maybe your honorary does pay, but no, my honorary members don't pay. I hope you can understand the implications of this, because I'm going to actually, we'll get to another line item, but let's keep going. I don't have any active satellite members. I do have an active corporate member, and they will pay. They are still an active member, even though they're listed as corporate. So they need to pay the $10. Okay. And then X members, you can charge or you can bill X members. If, let's take a hypothetical, someone leaves your club just like right during a billing cycle, but they still owe the club money, you can charge X members if you need to. We're not going to worry about it today, but just know that you can send invoices to X members. Okay, I'm going to click save because I've selected all the people I want. Don't worry, because we're going to go to step 2. We're going to review this, but I've now created my first line item. I'm going to scroll down so you can see it. My first line item, the quantity is 1. What that is it's my monthly dues for April 23rd. I selected 20 members in total for a total of $200, right? 20 times 10. So that is my first line item. Okay, I'm going to add more line items. So let me click on add additional item. And I want to talk about my honorary member, right? So honorary members, they're not going to pay the $10. However, you're going to find the need sometimes to charge specific members specific charges. So this is now a new line item, my second one. And this is for Happy Bucks. Okay. Once again, I'm just making this up, but you might have meal charges, you might have, all different kinds of charges. But my honorary member, she's I actually don't know if it's a she or he. I'm going to say they owe $5 in Happy Bucks. Okay. Now, one way to do this, of course, is to do like this. And see how this is adding everything up. My unit price is $5, but inside the name Happy Bucks, well, that's $1. So here's another way to say that someone owes $5 in Happy Bucks. The Happy Buck is obviously a buck, it's $1. The quantity is 5. Okay. And there you go. The amount owing works out to the same, whichever way you do this, whether it be with quantity or whether it be at unit price. I'm going to keep it like this because Happy Bucks, obviously, they're a buck each. So the honorary owes us 5. Okay. And once again, this can say meal charges, or this can say, a donation, whatever you'd like it to say. Like I said, I'm just going to do Happy Bucks so you can see how this works. Okay. So my honorary owes $5. No one else does. No one in my club owes this. This is just a special line item for my honorary person. When we scroll down, none of these active members, this is not for them. I'm going to unselect. Okay, so none of these people, they're all zeroed out. None of them will get charged for this $5 Happy Buck. When we scroll down, my honorary, okay, Jamie, the only person who's going to get this $5 charge is Jamie. Okay. I'm going to skip everybody else. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to click save. And what I've now done is hopefully show you your dues can have custom line items. You don't have to create a brand new club invoice just for your honorary member to pay $5 in Happy Bucks. You can just create a special line item for them inside this April monthly dues. So you can continue to add line items. I won't, but I hope you understand the concept of a line item, that you just create something and then figure out who to charge it to. Okay, let me scroll down. like I said, step 2 review is very important because I've been clicking around. Now I need to confirm who did I charge and what did I charge them. Because like I said, when we move on to step 3, I'm not going to click this yet. When we click the orange button, I can't go back. So let me click the blue billing roster button in step 2. And what a billing roster is, it's kind of what the name implies. It's only the list of names and what you're charging them. That's it. That's all the billing roster does. It doesn't list anything fancy or sophisticated. It's a simple way to make sure that Bob pays $10 and Mary and Frank and Sue, but my honorary member, remember that my honorary person, they have to pay $5 and happy bucks. I do apologize. It's just taking a second to load here. Okay. So like I said, don't skip step 2. Make sure you review the billing roster so that you can see what's happening. Now, give me a second here. All right. Let's go here. Sorry, just a moment. Let's see if I can here. Okay. Now, okay, just a moment. I'm going to try to reload. I think, here we go. Hold on. All right. Oh, sorry. I think it's just, I'm going to try. Apologize about that. Okay, let's go. Here. Now, this is when we're doing these live webinars, I have to apologize here. Just want to make sure I can go to Google and that there's nothing wrong with my internet. Fantastic. There we go. So that was me being paranoid. Sorry to open up Google. I just want to make sure that's my internal test to make sure my internet hasn't gone south. So let me take a step back. I apologize about that. There was just a delay in loading. This is actually a good thing because let's review. Let's go back to our dues and billing to do that. We'd click organization, dues and billing to bring us here to billing home. I'm going to open my monthly April invoice. Notice that April has the edit button. None of the other ones do because April is open. Let me click edit. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I hit cancel. Click the wrong button. Let me click open. All right. We're going to open up the April 2023 invoice. Let me scroll down. Okay. And let me try billing roster again. Fingers crossed. All right. And it's just thinking right now. All right. And like I said, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the billing roster. All right. And just give me one moment, please. Okay. There it is. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So this is the billing roster. We call it a batch summary. This is a summary of all the line items and who is getting charged. Okay. Let me scroll down. Here's all my active members. So use this opportunity to check. Norma, Frank, Harry, Sally, Ben, whoever, all your club members, did they get charged? Right. So I'm going to scroll down. You can just have to do a cursory glance, but just make sure that everybody's selected. Right. Misty, right? Misty Food. She got $10. That's how much she's going to get charged for this invoice. All right. And I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to scroll down a little bit quickly on my active members because I want to keep going on other things, but honorary members, right? Once again, all my active members get $10, but my honorary Jamie person, they'll get $5, right? And so everything looks to be accurate. I'm going to scroll back up, just going to make sure that all the charges are correct and that all the members are here, right? If someone's missing, you might not have checked their box, or you might have forgot about somebody. All right. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the screen. Sorry to scroll a little quickly here. I'm going to click the go back button. Okay. And so we are now ready to finalize everything. So let's do so. All right. So I didn't skip step 2. I looked at my billing roster. It's an important step because now I'm going to click on step 3. Step 3, when you generate the invoices, you lock them, meaning I can, as soon as I click this orange button, it will deactivate this button right here. As soon as I generate the invoices, I can't add any additional items. So let's generate the invoices. And this is a little hard to read, so I'll kind of do a little reading for you. Okay. Are you sure you want to do this? Because once the invoices are generated, you can't go back and click. I'm going to click OK, and I've locked my invoices. So this bill is, for lack of a better word, finalized, meaning I can't make edits to this bill after it gets finalized. So that's what I want to do. You might be wondering, why can't I just go back and edit these things? When you click generate invoices, what's happening right now is that the invoices are being finalized, and there's print versions and email versions getting ready. Like, we're actually doing a lot of work behind the scenes. When you click generate invoices, you will now see, this is gray, this is gray. This, the status is closed. I can no longer add line items. So this invoice is now ready to send or email or print. Okay, the only step we have remaining is step 4, which is to print or email the invoices. In order to do that, I'm going to click the blue view individual invoices. Okay, the invoices are locked, meaning it's now ready to distribute to my club. How do you want to distribute to your club? Do some people want it to email? Do some people want a printed page that you deliver to them at a meeting? Maybe it's a mix of both. You can do all that. So we are now going to look at, this is a very similar looking screen to when you're reviewing, with the exception of these 2 buttons. So I'm going to make this statement, okay? All my active members are 100% fine with being emailed their invoices. I talked to them in the meeting. They said, just email me the invoices, I'll pay it, no problem. Okay. My honorary member, Jamie said, yeah, could you please print me a paper copy? It would really be helpful. So I have instructions. I'm going to email my active, but I'm going to make a hard copy for my honorary. Before we do that, let's actually see what an invoice looks like. What are you emailing all these people? So I'm going to pick the first person, Enrica. I'm going to click view/print, and it's going to pop open a new tab, and it's going to show me what the invoice looks like. If you remember from several steps ago, the configuration settings, right? What is the Rotary Club information? This Enrica's information, right? It's pulling from the database. Club Runner knows what Enrica's address is, and it just pulls from the database, puts it into the invoice. All of this, right? Invoice number, all this, when it was, when it's due, it's all here, including my comment, which was send all the checks to me. But all of this is here. I typed none of this. It all gets automatically generated per member. So every person will get an invoice that looks like this in their email, except for my honorary. My honorary wants a printed version. So my active members are all happy getting this over email. I'm going to close this browser tab. I'm going to click this button to close it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to select all, okay? And I've selected everybody before I click email, because if I click this blue button, I'll email all of my active members. I'm going to scroll through the list. I might need to deselect, excuse me. I might need to deselect, oh good. So my honorary has not been selected, right? So there's no checkbox beside Jamie. I'm going to scroll up. All of my active are going to get an email with their dues. I'm going to click this blue button, email selected invoices, okay? And what I've done is I've now sent all my active members their invoice. And I've created an email archive. So 2 things. I've sent everybody, but you know what? Next week or next month or 6 months from now, I'm going to be like, I sent the April invoice, right? Someone said they didn't get it, or, you need to double check. the email archive. What this means is we don't just send the email, we log and keep track of everything. So when did you send the email? Who did you send it to? Did those people open it? Did it get bounced or blocked or land in their spam folders? So we keep track of everything in the email archive. So 6 months from now, if Jerry or Mary or whoever says, I never got the April 2023 invoice, you can go back in time and check the email logs. Okay, so I've now emailed pretty much the majority of my club except for my honorary. Let me go back to dues and billing home. Okay, my honorary member said, please, can you print me the paper copy, because it just helps me out. I can give it to my accountant, whatever. I'm going to click open for my April 2023. Okay, I'm going to just skip steps 1 to 3. I can't touch anything anyways. This invoice is now locked. I'm going to go down to view individual invoices, and I'm going to choose my honorary member at the very bottom. Okay, so I'm going to scroll past my active members. My honorary Jamie is near the bottom. I'm going to print his invoice. Now, you may need to do a mix. Maybe half your club wants printed, maybe half your club wants emailed. Like I said, you can do whatever it works best for your club in this case. All right, and I apologize. I'm sorry, we're moving a little slow here. Okay, good. So I'm going to scroll past all my actives. And let's go to my honorary Jamie. So I'm going to choose Jamie. And then now I could, of course, email Jamie, but Jamie is like, please send me a paper copy. I'm going to scroll up. Okay. I'm going to do download in PDF format. Okay. So now for Jamie, I've got an invoice. Now it's very hard to read this type. This says open file. Let me open this file. Okay. This is Jamie's invoice as a nice single printed page. I'll make this bigger. Okay. I can just turn on my printer, print this for Jamie. I've now got an invoice just for Jamie. I'm going to give it to Jamie at the next meeting. All right. I can even save this invoice, right? Here, I'll just go file and save. Okay. So I can even save this PDF onto a thumb drive and, maybe take it somewhere else. But this is what I mean by you can kind of customize the two options. I'm going to close this invoice for Jamie. Let's pretend that I printed the page onto my printer. I'm going to close this off. I want to go and talk about a few other things, and I am looking at the clock. I do apologize. We're going to keep going. That was more or less the invoice process. That's just to prepare and send the invoices to your members. Few things. This is for club members only. This will not work for you want to invoice or bill a company or keep track of, very sophisticated club expenses. That's not what this dues and billing module is for. It's for sending simple invoices to your members, active, honorary, ex-member, etc. Okay, so I'm going to click on billing home just because I want to go back and see that nice bill that is now closed and it's been sent. And I emailed most of my club and my honorary Jamie. He's going to have a nice printed paper. I want to go down the list here. So let's start talking about account statements. This is the next button down the line. Account statements essentially is the list of your names and what do they owe. You will see, and your club is going to be in the same situation. Not everyone owes the same amount. Enrica owes $30, Mason only owes 10. I owe 30, and then, so on and so forth. Why didn't I just create a single invoice for $10? Remember, there's previous charges. Let's take a look at Enrica. She owes $30. I'm going to click this blue Show Transactions button beside her name. I can see her transaction history. She had a bill from March for $20, which she didn't pay because it hasn't been, the payment entry has not been logged or recorded. So she owes something from before. I sent her the April invoice for $10, but she still owes $20 from before. Okay. I want to just look, show you this. This orange button, send statement by email, can be very important for your club and can be very important for the sanity of your treasurer. A lot of people are going to maybe, you know what, I think I owe the club, whatever, $50, 100. Can you send me some, I don't remember what it is. Can you? So you may get the request, please send me my outstanding balances. What do I owe and why do I owe that? If I click this orange send statement by email button, I can email Enrica and say, here's what you owe, here's the charges. I'm going to click OK. The email gets sent off to Enrica. I can move on with my life, right? Because I just sent the account balance, I emailed it to Enrica, and I can move on. If I click on account statements, I can continue down the line. And because it's hard to remember all of this, there's a log that says on today, April 18th, I emailed Enrica her statement. This is not the same as the April 2023 invoice, right? You just saw this appear. This is, if you go, let's take a look at me, right? I'm logged in as Rusty. There is no date here, right? So if I click on show transactions, that I'm going to send myself the statement and I'm going to click OK. That's where that date log comes in. Let me go back to account statements. There's 2 date logs now, right? One for Enrica, one for Rusty, because I've sent, this denotes when I sent someone their old prior balances. Okay. Like I said, we want you to be able to find this stuff 6 months from now. If someone says 2 months later, you never sent me the, my old, if Enrica 2 months from now says, you never sent me my old balances, you can say, according to our logs, I sent you something on April 18th. Did it bounce or did it go into your spam? Okay, so that's the account statement section. I can check everybody's box, right? This is all my active. This is my honorary. I can keep going, but I'll stop there. I can send an email to everybody with their statements. If I wanted to do that and just, not even worry about, I want to send it to XYZ, you can just send it to the whole club. This is the box I checked. I checked this single checkbox. It selects all of my active members. I can scroll down and select my honorary members too. I can click this orange send button and it's off and everybody will get their old invoices. So that's account statements. Let's talk about people who pay you. This is fine for outgoing invoices, for sending out invoices. Now let's talk about people who pay you. And Enrica and all your other, some of your other people are now going to start giving you checks, cash, or if your club has it enabled, they'll pay you online with credit card. So let's talk first about credit card before I get to a manual payment. So a credit card option is great because it gets automatically logged. Let's say you're the club treasurer, you're in charge of dues and billing. You don't have to record credit card transactions or credit card payments ever. If you send a statement or you email Enrica or club invoice, and Enrica's like, oh, thanks, I got it. I'll just pay it, $10 or $30. She pays it online. It's logged automatically. The club treasurer or the person in charge of dues, they don't need to log anything. The only thing you need to log are checks, cash, manual payments, things of those nature. Okay, so credit card payments don't really apply to what we're doing here for these payment entries. These are manual payment entries. So let's add a manual payment. Let's say Lemmy, all right? So Lemmy, he owes, now what I can do on this screen is I can select any member, okay? Now, remember I said you can send an invoice to X members. We're going to take this very kind of fringe case. You sent an invoice for, I don't know, $50 or something to your X member because as they were leaving the club, that's what they owed the club. Now, you're going to look on this list and say, I don't see my X member here. Remember to check show all types. By default, this list, this dropdown is only your active members. If you check show all types, the list will be a bit longer and it will show X members, honorary, what have you. Okay, so if you looking on this list for your X member, once again, a fringe case, make sure to click on show all types. We're not going to worry about any of that. I'm going to click here and I'm going to check Lemmy again. Okay, and Lemmy, he knows he owed $30. I can click view statement to view statement. But he's like, okay, I understand. Sorry about that. I'm a little behind. So $30 check payment, right? And then you can put in the check number, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. You can add a quick little comment. What did he give you? He gave you $30. When did he give it to you? He gave it to you. Let's say he gave it to you tomorrow, right? In the future. So he gave it to you on Wednesday, right? Today's Tuesday. And you can click post. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click post and I'm going to post a single payment. It says, are you sure you want to do that? You want to say this person paid you? Absolutely. Click OK. And now Lemmy is now recorded with a check payment. Okay. Let me go back to, now that was a payment entry, and I'm going to speed up just a little bit. I apologize. I'm going to want to talk about multiple payment entries. Let's click on multiple payment entries. A single payment entry is fine, but you know, your club might have dozens of members. So multiple payment entries, which is the next blue link down the side, lets you do exactly what I did for Lemmy as a batch. Erica, she paid me $20, okay? And the transaction date was today, right? Or whatever. And then Mason also paid me 10, or I'm sorry, paid me 10. And then Rusty, me, I haven't paid anything. Alta, nothing. And then Misty has given me $30. And so on and so forth. You can add comments, right? Check number. So just exactly what I did for, you know, for the single entry. You can do the same thing for multiple entries. Okay. And I'm going to just skip. I just want you to see that this is all your members. You can add all kinds of multiple payment options right here, right? Because Jamie, remember, still owes $5 in Happy Bucks. He hasn't paid yet, but I can record that if he does give me a $5 bill. All right. And I'm going to click on preview payments here. And this, once again, shows me who paid, what do they pay, when do they pay, and add a little comment. Is this correct? If you click submit, then you're saying, okay, 10, 20, 50 people at a time, let's record all their payment entries at once. I'm going to click cancel, but normally you'd click the orange submit button. Let's keep going. Credit adjustment. I'm going to click on credit adjustment. Okay. So a credit adjustment is essentially a payment entry. Now, I am not an accountant. I've been struggling with credits and debits for years. A credit adjustment, because it's right underneath payment entry, this is my way of remembering. You're saying someone has paid the club. Okay. So if you input a number, let's pick a, I don't know, we'll pick Gil. Okay. So Gil owes $40 to the club. If I enter $40, what I'm doing is I'm saying Gil has paid $40. His balance will be zero. That is what a credit adjustment is. It's more or less a payment entry. And you can see the similarities in how these screens are built. You can show all types, you can add your comments, you have the transaction dates, etc. So that's a credit adjustment. It's essentially a payment. Let's talk about the inverse or the reverse. I'm going to click on debit adjustment. And once again, this is something I struggle with myself. Every once in a while, I still forget. A debit adjustment means someone owes the club money. Let me pick on somebody here. I'll pick on Annette, okay? So Annette owed $30, but it turns out, you know what? She, let's say Happy Bucks. I can't think of another reason right now, but she still owes Happy Bucks and she owes $10 in Happy Bucks, okay? Here's what happens with a debit adjustment. I will increase Annette's, I'm sorry, it's Annetta, my mistake. I will increase Annetta's, what she owes by $10. A debit adjustment will increase what she owes. I'm actually going to do that for real because I want to make sure I'm not lying to you and, you know, I'm misremembering how debit adjustments works, but you're increasing what a person owes. So Annetta owes $10 in Happy Bucks. We had a great meeting last Wednesday, April 12th. That was technically the transaction date, right? At our last meeting on April 12th, she's like, hey, I had a lot of good stuff to share. I owe you guys $10. I know that's an exaggeration, but this is just an example. I'm going to click post because I want you to see that Annette did owe $30. But as I click post, and it says, are you sure you want to do that? We always warn you. I'm going to click OK. And now Annette owes $40. She just owed 30, but I've just debited $10. I hope I said that word right. So that's a debit adjustment. That was mostly for me, by the way, because like I said, I struggle with credit and debits for a long time. I'm going to click on cancel transaction. Okay. You can actually void a transaction. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to skip this, and I'm sorry to do that, but I'm looking at the clock and I want to make sure Serena has some Q&A time. But please do click on cancel transaction. You're basically negating someone's charge. Okay. I want to keep going because I want to talk about the reports, export to QuickBooks, and I want to get to Q&A. So I'm going to come back to the next link here. Actually, I'm going to come back to export to QuickBooks. I'll do that last. I'm going to skip a few steps. We already talked about configuration settings. I want to talk about our reports section. Okay. The reports sections have 3 reports: debits and credits, monthly balance, and the email archive. The debits and credits show what people owe over a certain time range. You'll notice everybody here says $0. Why? Because the time range is April 1st, and we've been charged, because this is our test club, we've only been charging people since mid-April because we just created this test club for this webinar. So I'm going to leave my beginning date range, January 1st. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to choose my ending date range of today, Tuesday, April 18th, and I'm going to click refresh. Notice how everybody's 0. If I click refresh, now the end balances are valid because I changed my date range to today's date. And that's what the debits and credits report lets you do. It lets you see payments over time. Okay. And you can absolutely export this into Excel. I'm going to click on the monthly balance report. Okay. It's very similar. It just shows you month by month. So the debits and credits and the monthly are relatively similar, same thing, right? I can choose, the month ranges, and it's $0 here because we didn't really start charging people until mid-April because that's when this club was actually created. All right, so let me scroll down, and I want to talk about the email archive. Remember I said we keep track of every time you send an invoice to your members. So I know that I sent my April 23rd invoice because there's a log of it. And it was sent on this date. Let me make this a bit bigger so you can see it. Okay, I'm going to click underneath actions. I'm going to click the little down arrow. We have email statistics for these emails that you send out. I'm going to click on stats, and it's going to load the email stats. Okay, and it's going to say it's sent to all these people. Some of them will open it, some of it might land in their spam folders, but you now have a log that says on April 18th, I know, Mason, I sent you the dues because I have a log of it. It may have landed in Mason's spam folder, but the point is you have a log of what's going on and how and when you were sending these emails. Okay, so I'm going to scroll up. I'm going to go back to the dues and billing section. Okay, I want to end with export to QuickBooks. All right, so I'm going to click here. And so the last thing I want to mention, export to QuickBooks. So your club, if they have a bookkeeper or accountant, you can start your club invoices or bills in Club Runner dues and billing, and then you can export the payments out into QuickBooks. You can use the desktop version or the online version of QuickBooks. There's some limitations here, which I really want to address. So first, big limitation, you can export out of Club Runner and into QuickBooks. You can't go the other way. You can't take something from QuickBooks, import it into Club Runner. So right away, that's one limitation. And then also, like inputting payments and doing all that stuff, the process of what your bookkeeper or what your accountant might have it might be different from club to club. I've talked to several accountants, bookkeepers, members, non-members, and they don't have a set prescribed process. Bookkeeper A, she may have a different process than bookkeeper B, right? So when you come to export to QuickBooks, what I'd recommend is, if your club is exploring dues and billing, send out a test bill, input some test payments, just do, a couple little test transactions, maybe send it only to your board members, don't send it to your whole club. If you have a bookkeeper, ask them to, okay, I'm going to export to QuickBooks. I'm going to use this button, right? Let's say you have the desktop version. And then you can specify this. I'm not going to go too deep into this, mostly because Club Runner does not have a QuickBooks software. So we can show you how this works, but your bookkeeper accountant will have to make sure that it works best for them. So I'm going to click download, and what that's going to give me is it's going to give me a QuickBooks file that I can bring into QuickBooks. It's right here. I'm sorry, it's very small. I know it's a little hard to see. You would send this file to your bookkeeper, and the bookkeeper would try out this process and see if it works for them. Okay, so the export to QuickBooks feature is not perfect. It's not end all and be all for everyone. However, it may work for your club if your club is using QuickBooks. So before I end, I just want to make sure, I covered everything. I do apologize, I went a little bit over. I want to make sure right now that Serena has time for Q&A. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stay on the screen, and I'm going to ask Serena to take over for Q&A.
Okay, everybody. I'm really grateful for Mickey. That session was very thorough, and I really appreciate his patience in going through each section for us so that we can kind of get this real life tutorial of how things are going on our dues and billing module. Great questions. I was able to answer a bunch of them for a lot of people. I do have a few here that are still remaining. So I just wanted to kind of go through those together with Mickey. So we did have a question about taxes from a couple of people. They were just wondering if the configuration setting is showing as 0, which is in our test account, we're not charging any taxes. What does the printed invoice look like? Does it show that it is 0, or does it show a tax portion? I do know we went through that a little bit, but let's just go open invoice again. So if we can go into our into the home page here, yep. And then we're going to scroll down a little bit, and then we're going to open. Let's try the cookout event extras, because we did set up that invoice already. We did generate that. Sorry, it's a little bit slow. Scroll down to the bottom, click view individual invoices. And if we click one of the invoices that was issued on the right, we'll see the view print. We'll be able to see that for these accounts where we have 0% tax inputted, it does not show on the invoice. And once this loads, you'll be able to see it as well. So you do see that tax option is there at 0. Okay. Aside from that, let's go back to our into our homepage. So we had a second question from Gary. How can the system prevent a member from reusing the payment link on an old invoice or statement? We have some members who use an old invoice to make a donation, for example, and that causes issues with account accuracy. At this point, our links do not expire, they remain active. This is something we've received feedback on in the past, and it's something we're looking at updating, but right now the links do remain active. It does not expire, and we apologize for the inconvenience that might happen as a result of this, but we're hoping that we'll get this changed sometime in the future. With Penny was saying that she didn't want the tax column at all. I see. And right now at this time, our invoices do show the tax column itself, we can take this feedback and look into this in the future for future updates. I do recall seeing this as being presented before, but we haven't had any, we haven't been able to get to this quite yet. Amanda was asking if we could backdate a debit or credit adjustment. With regards to backdating, Mickey, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't allow that for tracking purposes, correct?
So you want to backdate debit?
Or credit
So yeah,
adjustment?
you can basically, yeah, like I think of what you're saying. So if we go to debit adjustment, right, you can absolutely backdate it for, I don't know, last month or even last year. So you can input whatever
the
you'd like.
transaction date.
You got it.
Perfect. Thank you. An anonymous attendee asked if we can the tax fields be removed altogether. We did adjust that. We weren't able to, we don't have that ability quite yet. Eli asked, do married couples get a reduced amount for annual dues? Not at this point that I understand. I think this is up to a club or a district to determine whether they want to give that discount. It's not up to Club Runner to determine what dues are charged or discounts or so on. That has to be determined by the club itself and the executive team. And that looks like it is it. As Lisa did ask if recordings are going to be emailed. Yes, 100%. All of these sessions are going to be recorded. All registrations will receive the recording once the sessions have been converted and uploaded. Also will be available on our knowledge base website, clubrunnersupport.com. Thank you again to everyone. That looks like it's it. Anybody else have anything that they'd like to ask? Fantastic. Okay, Mickey, it looks like we're wrapped up so far. Did you have any final comments?
All right, great. Yeah, so what I'll do is we will conclude. The reason I want to go through the conclusion process is one last time, if you think of something, you can absolutely post it in the Q&A. If we didn't get to your question today, like I said, if it's in the Q&A, it's logged. We will come back and answer any questions we couldn't get to. I'm going to go through the final process. Okay. And what I'd like to say is, so thank you for attending this webinar. These changeover sessions, they're some of our most exciting for the year. We normally don't get to reach out to this volume of members at the same time. So we're thrilled to have a webinar filled sometimes 50, 100 people, sometimes more. If you can, there was a lot of information provided today. If there's one thing you'd like to remember, just remember our email address, support@clubrunner.ca. If you're trying out dues or trying out any module and you're stuck, or the step 3 in the instructions don't make sense, please do send us an email. We love hearing from our customers. We don't want you to be stuck or have any issues. Please do contact us. We'd love to hear from you. We have our online community, clubrunnercommunity.com. The way that this works is it's an online message board. All the messages are public, but the only people who can post are our Rotarian customers. So if you would like to get a hold of, say, Rotarian in Australia, or you think maybe you want to post something for Rotarians around the world, please go to clubrunnercommunity.com. We have various topics. So you can post and have your responses seen by Rotarians worldwide. And finally, if you don't know about it already, please do download our Club Runner mobile app. It's at clubrunner.com/mobile. It's free for iPhone or Android. It is Club Runner in your pockets. The member directory, you can even register for events. So you can carry Club Runner around with you wherever you go. Most of you probably have heard about it, but if you haven't, please do download it. It's worth taking a look at, and it's 100% free. I want to thank Serena for Q&A. I want to thank all of you for attending today. And it bears repeating, all of these recordings will be made available at the end of the sessions. So thank you again. Have a wonderful afternoon and take care, everyone.